So the best way to understand Donald Trump and his administration is that he surrounds himself with lots of worm tongues, mentally unstable people, and frankly, psychopaths. I know it sounds crazy when you talk about this stuff, but the more you hear details about who these people are, it all kind of fits in. So let me give you an example. This was Elon Musk today, and this is how I noticed it. He was tweeting out, and it was an article from Politico regarding Scott Bessent, and I guess Scott was threatening to hit someone in the face or something. And then one of Musk's followers was like, was this his work? Meaning that, and if you guys remember the story, Elon Musk shows up to the White House, does a press conference with a black eye, which is a bit weird. And we're just like, okay. And it was rumored that either maybe Scott Bessent punched Musk. It could have been Stephen Miller for all we know. But my money was on Bessent. And then now we got this other story that just came out that Bessent's getting fights with another Trump person. This was the headline from Politico. It says, "I'm going to punch you in your face." Okay, Scott Bessent threatens an administration rival. I wanted to go over this one because when you get these kind of stories, it really illustrates what's going on in the White House and why they're so dysfunctional. And I'll just say this about Bessent. Watch my last video. We talked about it. He gave a interview on national media. I think it was Meet the Press, and basically just lies to people's face on national TV, which is crazy. But a lot of the Trump people do that, and it's just like, why are you ruining your whole career, ruining the whole country, dragging us through the mud, like all of us? But I think these people have serious mental issues. Let's just see what it says here. It says, the Treasury Secretary's quiet tensions with Housing Finance Chief Bill Pulte exploded at a private dinner last week. And this Bill Pulte guy, he's another one of those Trump kind of people, again, a worm tongue, psychopath, etc. He's been making all these sort of accusations against Lisa Cook, trying to push out someone at the Fed. So this is all intertwined. Okay, so what's going on here? A private dinner attended by dozens of administration officials and close advisors to President Donald Trump was temporarily marred by a dramatic clash between two of Trump's top economic officials. Okay, so Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and 1 point threatened to punch, that's what it says, punch top housing finance official Bill Pulte in the effing face. Okay, why are we punching each other? I don't like any of these people, but I don't necessarily want like fist fights every day at the White House or whatever. The Wednesday evening event was supposed to be one of celebration, okay? It was both much anticipated inaugural dinner at the executive branch, the ultra-exclusive Georgetown club created by and for Trump's world's uber rich, right? And a birthday party for MAGA-friendly podcaster Shamath Palihapitiya, yeah. And Shamath was at the recent Trump dinner with all the tech execs too. So that was this. So basically, they're trying to have a birthday party. The other issue why people behave, okay, so one, they're psychopaths. The other issue is a lot of these people in the Trump administration could be on various substances, right? Chemical or whatever. And when you are putting stuff into your body and you got addiction issues, like any number of things can happen. If you guys ever been around people with addiction, you probably know this stuff already. A long table for 30-some guests, there's a lot of people there, was set with a top-of-the-line crystalline china. Okay, so there's a lot of expensive stuff on the table. A lot of, big wigs are there. The guest list include Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Duffy is a former MTV, no, wasn't it MTV Road Rules? I think it is. And then he went to Fox News. Seriously, these are all TV stars, basically. Howard Lutnick, he lies on TV quite a bit. Interior Secretary Doug Burnham, Ag Secretary Brooke Hollins, Tulsi was there. Then you got Kelly Loeffler. God. So it looks like everyone was there. Was the Oz dude there? Dr. Oz, I guess. Let's see. David Sachs, Palpatia. Yeah. Wow. But amid the cocktail hour din, Bessent lashed out at Pulte in an expletive-laden diatribe. Okay, so I guess it was long, I suppose, and swearing a lot for some reason. The Treasury Secretary had heard from several people from the Federal Housing Finance Agency director had been bad-mouthing him to Trump. A person close to said, oh God, he wasn't about to engage in chit-chat as if nothing was amiss. Okay. So the Pulte guy, and this all is like, who's close to Trump and who's going to be the worm tongue, because Trump doesn't, I mean, anyone who watches Trump live. Trump's not that bright. It's obvious, right? And Trump is this like easily bought off by anyone. And so then these worm tongues all try to sneak in and seize power. And so then Polte's telling the staff or whatever that Bessent's a bad guy or whatever, just says, you're talking behind my back, bad mouthing, right? Bessent's like, I heard you've been talking about me, Willis. Basically, that's what it ends up being, right? What are you saying? Yeah, this is what it is. It says, why the F are you talking to the president about me? F you. I hadn't actually had read this. I was just saying, like, that's how this would play out. And this is literally what he's saying. I'm going to punch you in the effing face. Like I said, these are all psychopaths. And plus they're like high school kind of gossipy world. And also you have to think about this. It's a lot of these kind of organizations, mafias, etc. They're all trying to, they know that the king is, on his last breath, right? And they're all trying to position themselves and build their coalitions to seize power. Wow, that's pretty funny. The scene was described to me by one eyewitness and 4 other people familiar with what happened. I mean, yeah, they're all there. The only fact they disagreed on was whether it was Bessent or Polte who initiated the conversation. Okay, I can see that. And it depends, did you hear the full conversation, right? Because at one point, Bessent's been like, I'm going to, punch you in the effing face. And then suddenly everybody looks and then, but it depends. You don't know necessarily the full story. So that's why it'd be different, I think. They and others who described the conflict were granted anonymity due to the sensitivity of the situation. And I mean, who knows, maybe Tulsi's ratting out Bessent. But 4 people, I think, was that they said like multiple people. Polte appeared stunned, and the tense encounter prompted club co-owner and financier Omid Malik to intervene, according to 3 people. So some person comes in, tries to break it up, but Bessent wasn't having it. He sought to get him kicked out. The eyewitness said, wow, it's either me or him, Bessent said to Malik. You tell me who's getting the F out of here. When you read through this stuff, it rings true to me, and you got multiple witnesses, and you just kind of see how this played out. Now, to be fair to both Scott and Bill, for all we know, Bessent heard these rumors and they could be untrue, for all we know, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if the rumors are true, meaning that Bill's talking bad stuff about Scott, the staff leak it to Bessent, right? I wouldn't be surprised if that rumors are true. But there's also a possibility there's staff members or other forces like trying to cause a rift between the two. I mean, you don't know this kind of stuff, and you don't know necessarily if they have a history of not liking each other also. So I'm just trying to be fair because, I'm just reading what's here. But yes, this definitely was some sort of fight. This stuff's so bizarre. You tell me who's getting the F out of here. And I tell you this stuff all the time, guys, is that this Trump administration, there's no way that you can put all of these greedy individuals in the same team/room and expect it to turn out well. It's not going to, right? None of these people are team players in the sense of like they're all looking out for themselves, right? Okay. Or we could go outside. Wow, what is this, high school? Bessent's telling Pulte go outside. To do what? Asked Pulte. To talk? No, Bessent says, I'm gonna effing beat your ass. Okay. The strange things about Bessent is if all this stuff is exact quotes, because we don't know exactly because we don't have a recording, but let's say it all is all exact quotes. He's got this strange personality. If you ever see him on TV, where he'll just like literally look at your face, shake, he'll cough, right, and basically lie. And then so I think he's got a real dark side to him. And it's kind of like, what's the best way to describe it? My initial reaction was like when I first read it, was like maybe it's like, the Gotham villain kind of thing where they appear to be normal people. And then you trigger them the wrong way, and suddenly they just like freak out, put on their supervillain costume, and just go on this rampage. And I think Bessent's that kind of person. Seeking to de-escalate the situation, Malik separated the men. Okay, walking Bessent to another part of the club to calm down. Okay, go calm down, dude. This is like a formal dinner. What are you doing? During the seated dinner, Bessent and Pulte were placed on opposite ends of the table, and the party went off without further episode. Okay, you 2 kids, you got to say the episode. But people do get in fights, too, and I'm sure some of you at work or in your family, right? Sometimes you have 2 adults that they get mad at each other. It happens. I mean, these are all. That's why I always try to go over this with the guys to just remember that these people are human beings. And again, I think that there's substance abuse here, there's psychological issues, etc. The confrontation, which one of Trump insider called bonkers, another called unhinged, underscores the surprising tensions between top Trump officials tasked with working on the nation's most sensitive economic matters. Yeah, like, why do we want these people? Trump announced in May that Bessent, Lutnick, Pulte would collaborate on a plan to privatize Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The federal housing finance organs Pulte oversees. In recent weeks, Pulte has taken the lead on an initiative that could put as much as 15% of Fannie and Freddie on public markets. And you know what? When I read through the stuff, there could be fights on where's the money going. So they kind of don't like each other that way. Because again, these are all greedy individuals. Bessent and Lutnick are Wall Street people. Pulte, I think his family had like I can't remember what it's called. It's like Pulte Real Estate or Pulte Housing or whatever. But they were affected pretty heavily from the 2008 crash. So all these people, they're wealthy individuals. They're greedy individuals. I don't like any of these people. I want to make it clear. I don't trust Bessent, Lutnick, or Pulte. I know all these people are. It just shows you, like, you know, they're all going to fight. And this, so it's not just a personal thing. It's also, I'm sure it involves money issues. And we're talking about the biggest money out there. Okay. I just want to make it clear, like the biggest money out there, right? The housing market, the treasury, where are the tariff money going to go, all this kind of stuff. But behind the scenes, the two men have clashed in something of a turf war over the mortgage giants as well. All right. See, I already guessed that. Because I haven't read this ahead of time. Yeah, you just kind of know where this is going. As well as other economic matters, for Trump insiders told me. Bessent believes some of the people familiar with their conflict that Pulte had inserted himself into matters the secretary views as his jurisdiction. Pulte, the added, had bristled at the threat of being big-footed. So I could see that. So Bessent, and I'm I don't like Bessent, but I could see if Bessent's like, yo, you're getting too involved in my business. But to be fair, maybe Bessent's getting too involved in the other person's business, right? I was here first, It's about money. It's about control. And you can see it here, complicating the entire dynamic, according to Trump administration, allies closely following drama is Pulte's close ties to Lutnick. Okay, so that part I didn't know. I didn't know Pulte and Lutnick like each other. I didn't know that. Okay. The Commerce Secretary and Bessent have had a rocky relationship since the transition when the two men competed for the Treasury position, right? That was injected significant distrust into anything the trio work on together. Wow, what a crazy drama. It was why Bessent, who feels he doesn't have time for drama and backbiting, given his massive portfolio, talking about money here, according to a person close to him, hit the roof when he saw Pulte Wednesday. And I wonder, just talking out loud, I wonder if deep down Bessent really wants to be Fed chair, and Trump's been floating out a bunch of other names, because before it was just Bessent was kind of the Bessent or Hassett were kind of the top couple of names, and then they released like 11 other names or whatever, or 11 total names, better way to say it. And I wonder if Bessent feels slighted by that. There's a possibility, because whenever he goes on TV, they ask him like, "Hey, do you want to be Fed chair, etc." There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, whether or not Bessent wants to be Fed chair, who knows? You can ask him directly. He'll lie about it, of course, but you can ask him. But I would say this definitely is about money and power in his portfolio, certainly. And you never know with these people. Also, not only substance abuse, they could be heavily leveraged. You never know with this stuff. You honestly never know. So meaning that if you don't leverage, like, they could be heavily underwater and whatever loans or stuff that they're, up to. Both men enjoy close relationship with Trump and are known with the president's orbit to openly jockey for influence and power, albeit different ways. I like this writer, whoever is Politico, but they're kind of saying the same things that I'm thinking, and it's just, reiterating it. Bessent, who comes across publicly as soft-spoken, has won Trump's trust as a soothing presence for jittery markets amid the president's unpredictable plays on tariffs and other economic issues. A cautious operator who's been called a moderating influence. I don't know if I would call Bessent that. I have heard the reports, though, that Bessent takes control is the right word to say it, but if Trump goes way off the rails, because Bessent is a Wall Street person, has connections to Wall Street, he'll try to reel Trump in and say, yo, the market's blah, 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 right? And Trump, and if you want to get Trump's attention, to say like, Trump, you'll crash the markets if you do X, and Trump doesn't like the markets crashing because it makes him look bad. So the former hedge fund manager, has overcome his past association with Democratic mega donor George Soros and is now considered one of Trump's closest allies. Meanwhile, Pulte, a brash 37-year-old with 3 million X followers. So you have a generational problem here too, right? So you got this 37-year-old guy. Bessent's older. I can't remember how old he is, but he's definitely older. So you have a generational problem here. Has taken more of a pugnacious tack and lower profile job. The scion of the family made a fortune building homes. He quickly fired more than 100 Fannie and Freddie Mae staffers and took direct control of the key housing entities, often ruling on new initiatives. So that's sort of what's going on. And if you want to read the rest, you can. But effectively, it's a madhouse over there. You have a reality TV, president surrounds himself with psychopaths, sycophants, people who are all greedy, want to put money in their pocket. And this is not going to end well. And they're threatening fistfights on each other. So that's who these people are. I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you on the next video.